What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most hated firearm brands on the internet, right? I've had videos where I have this just sitting in the background back here, and someone goes, oh, it's next to a Kimber. Okay, cool. I've also heard people say, oh, it's a Kimber. It's not going to go bang. I've heard it say, it's a Kimber. It's going to be an absolute mess. It's going to be a Kimber. Do your research. You guys, I'm well aware of all the problems with Kimber. In fact, my local gun store / range removed every single Kimber from the shelves and will not even sell them anymore. They actually lost a lot of money on them. It's actually a crazy story. They had like every single model of Kimbers. They had a massive lineup. And if you know anything about brick and mortars, you have to spend a lot of money on product placement, right? Wherever you put stuff, you only have so much space. That stuff has to be the best-selling stuff. That stuff has to make you money. Otherwise, it should not be sitting on your shelves. They said that they sold like 31 Kimbers or something crazy over the course of a couple years. 31 Kimbers. It almost looked like their display shelf had more than 31 Kimbers when it comes to actual models. So, very, very interesting that nobody buys Kimbers, right? And you know, when you hear stuff like that, I get it. That's why people are the way they are on trends and on the internet. It almost like forces you into not liking something, right? All those comments almost guys, but then I forgot who I am, right? Almost got to me. I almost was like, screw this, it's a Kimber. Screw this, it's junk. It's bad. But that wouldn't be real. That wouldn't be honest. That wouldn't be legit, right? That wouldn't be fair. This Kimber is not like the other Kimbers. This Kimber, I wanted to hate. Their 1911s, I'm well aware of the problems. I talk to my gunsmith all the time about what handguns he has the hardest time with, what handguns he sees the most. I always ask him questions like that. On top of that, I ask the local range and store, what firearms come back the most? What guns? Kimber's was up there, but SIGs were the most. Just being real with you guys. But anyways, the Kimber Mako R7. This firearm right here went against almost every model that Kimber makes. They mostly make 1911s, revolvers, but they make beautiful 1911s, right? Some of those micro 9s and other 1911s they have are absolutely awesome to look at. But a lot of people in the firearm industry forget that looks are cool, but they don't really matter. If the firearm doesn't function, there's not really a point to it looking nice, if that makes any sense, you guys. Unless you're just going to, remove the striker or something and hang it on your wall, whatever the case may be. But I doubt you're doing that. But this Kimber mic right here has been actually great. We hit over 1,000 rounds with this thing, and it didn't take very long. And what's interesting is I did a lot of dry fire practice with this. It was actually funny. I sighted in the dot from doing dry fire practice with a laser bore, and I got to the range, and I was like, all right, what am I doing here? Anyways, that was one of the problems why I didn't like it. I had a crimson trace on there. I sighted it in. I thought it was decent, right, for the distance that I had to work with. I get to the range, I'm like, what the heck is going on? I get it sighted in, start shooting. 2 mags later, same problem. I'm like, this handgun is just so inconsistent. Then I swapped over to the Sealy Cat X Pro for the remaining 600 or something rounds of the review. Absolutely love this handgun. Now, is it going in my carry rotation? I don't think it is. I just have a lot of handguns right now that I like better, and I'm trying to keep my rotation very small and limited. Basically just role players, right? Glock 42, pocket carry. Glock 43 right now is my work carry because my Smith is getting Cerakoted. Home defense, Glock 45, carry pistol, Glock 26, and for light carry, Hellcat or the Reflex. But this handgun is definitely a handgun I would recommend. I don't listen to what other people say. I only listen to how this handgun performs in my hands, right? I can't tell you about anyone else's Kimber Mako R7. I can only tell you that this Kimber Mako R7 ran 1,000 rounds of training ammo and a little over 2 boxes of defensive ammo. Civil Liberty Defense and Underwood Extreme Defender 68 grain. 100% reliable. Not a single hiccup, not a single issue. Let's get into it. The number one thing I like about this handgun is the texturing. Now, even though the ergonomics aren't the best, the texturing is really good, which allows you to get a great purchase on this handgun. And even if you start sweating at the range or it's hot outside, your hand's going nowhere. And they put that texturing throughout the whole entire frame, which I really like. A lot of firearms switch texturing, right? Back here they have like spikes, and here they have a little stippling. This is way better. Give us this texturing. Now, one thing I thought was a little weird was some of the magazines. Like, they're a weird shape. The base plate's a weird shape. I'm not sure why they did that. I don't know if it was to offset this piece to help get it in your palm. So I don't know why they did that, but overall it feels pretty decent, but not the most ergonomic for my hands. It could work much better for your hands. Finish is unbelievable. This Kimber finish is just great. Over 1,000 rounds, and check out the finish. Now the barrel has a little bit more wear, and it's only in one place, which is fine with me, but it does tend to wear right here at this lip way more than anywhere else on the bottle, which is typically common, but the amount of wear is a little more excessive than most handguns I have, except for like the Rugers and stuff like that, but not an issue at all. The side ejection port, no problems, no issues. People said it's going to have issues, zero issues. This design was meant for this. Awesome 3-dot sights right from the factory. You don't see awesome 3-dot sights like this very often. See them on the Reflex. I'm talking about where it has an orange outline front, or yellow, or whatever the case may be, and 2 white outline rear sights, and that white actually pops. It's not like the P365s where during daytime it's a little dark, right? So awesome, awesome sights. I think they're True Glows. Yeah, they are True Glows. So absolutely love those sights. The Cat X Pro, one of my favorite optics. I have over 30 Sealy optics, never a single problem. That's all I can go off of. That's literally all I can go off of, is if I've ever had issues with the product. That's how I know if I trust it or not. But anyways, 11 plus 1 in this setup, 13 plus 1 I believe with the other setup. This is the only way I would carry it, and this is the only way I shot it basically the whole time. I have 4 of these mags, and I was just fine with it, right? Now, overall mag release is okay. It's in a good spot. Didn't accidentally bump it or anything. It does pop out pretty decent. I actually like that. And it is ambidextrous as well as the slide stop, which is a huge thing for people. So we got the CSX, we got like the FNS 9C, and the Kimber Mako are all ergonomic handguns that will fit lefties pretty well. So this is another option out there for the 10% lefties in the world. I always like to mention that because it's only fair, right? Next up, takedown is a little weird. I'm not going to do it on camera, but instead of like sliding the slide off, notice it's an enclosed rear and sides. So literally you're pulling it down, you just pull off. It's really easy. A little harder to get on, but pretty easy takedown. Not mad at it at all. Now, one thing I do want to realize is where I told you it's rubbing, you can feel the rubbing. You can feel that, making it past this first little, see that? There's like this little piece right here. You can feel it's a lot of rubbing going on. Not a big deal. No malfunctions. The slide reciprocated just fine. It wasn't slow. It's just while you rack it, you do notice it, right? Not a big deal, though. Trigger. Absolutely love the trigger. Now, the trigger was weird at first. It took break-in. Now, I'm not sure why a handgun like this takes that much break-in, but I was not a fan of this thing at first. I was like, the trigger feels okay, but it feels cheap. It feels like junk. But then you take to the range, you actually dry fire. Like, I dry fired this so much, I broke it in at home almost. There is no sponge anymore. Before it was spongy. Before it was like spongy and creepy up into the wall, but now it's just a clear, defined wall. And if you know me, that's the kind of triggers I like. I like a defined wall for self-defense. Look at that. Ready, break. It's crisp, it's clean, and it even has a nice sound. Reset. Very, very nice reset. Now, is it a fast shooter? It's relatively fast for its side. It has much less recoil than the Canik Meta MC9, the Hellcat, the P365, the Stoeger MC. It does have less recoil, but it's also a little heavier and also a little bit more top heavy. But when there's rounds in there, it's not uneven or anything like that. It does not give it a weird feel. One thing I do have to give them credit for is realizing that all these Micro 9s are so dang thin, they don't fit most men's hands very well. So if you can see this little bubble, they bumped it out just enough in this section just to fill your hand. See that? There's like a little bump. It's like a little bubble. And it actually really fills your hand well on that side, or if you're lefty, on this side. So absolutely like the Kimber Mako R7. Do I recommend it for carry? I do. Just test yours. That's all it's about at the end of the day. If yours runs, it typically will keep running. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.